Laura Hernandez, it's an honor to be here. You used to be our mayor and you're still part of the city council, and it's just so nice to know that you were one of the first responders here. Could you tell us a little bit about, your memory from that day?
Well, 21 years ago, I was working for the Ventura County Sheriff's Department. I was manager for the Sheriff's Office of Emergency Services, and our office is responsible for preparing and responding to major disasters like floods and fires and earthquakes and aircraft disasters. So on January 31st, approximately 4:45, almost maybe 5 o'clock. I was in interviews. I was helping serve on a panel, and I got a phone call from my one of my employees who worked for me, and he said that we had a crash off our coast. So I asked if it was passenger or cargo. He said passenger, and I said commercial or private. He said commercial. And I didn't ask how many passengers at that time, and I said, well, let's go ahead and activate the EOC. I'll meet you downstairs. And I was the first one in our emergency operations center. That's what our responsibility is to provide support for major events. We support field operations. So we work behind the scenes in an emergency operations center that's full of telephones, phone banks, monitors, computers, everything that we need to do our job to communicate with the field and to get them the support and supplies that they need. At that point, all I knew is that we were going to stand by to support the federal agencies who would be in charge. According to the Family Assistance Act, NTSB comes in and does the investigation. At that point, U.S. Coast Guard they were the incident commanders. They were providing rescue operations. When it no longer became a rescue operation of the 88 victims on that plane, the NTSB took over the investigation of the cause of the plane crash. We moved from the Emergency Operations Center at the Government Center and situated ourselves out on the Navy base, where we set up a field command post, and we operated from that location for 7 weeks. I was appointed the liaison officer. I was part of the command staff, reporting directly to the incident commander from the Sheriff's Department, who was in charge. We would hold briefings twice a day with all the agencies who responded to this disaster. We had over 75 different agencies, federal, state, and local agencies who responded to this disaster. Hundreds of people converged here onto the base to support the recovery efforts. So we had to make sure we are all operating from the same sheet, that we all operated from the same plan, that we knew our roles and responsibilities. We had to feed everybody. We had to make sure people had logistical support, whether it was places to sleep, places to work, transport. So we supported all those agencies who came in to help find the remains of the victims and bring some final solace to the families who had lost loved ones. Our primary mission from the beginning was always the families, was to always take care of the families first. That was our primary focus. We knew that the press would be very interested in this story, and while family members were mourning, we did our best to try to shelter them from the press so that they could mourn in peace and mourn alone. So they'd come out to our beaches and all the way from Silver Strand here to Port Hueneme to say goodbye and to mourn the loss of their loved ones. It was one of those events you just never forget. If you talk to any professional emergency manager, they'll always tell you there's one incident that will mark their career, and this one was mine. I'll never forget it. It changed my life, and I learned a lot from it. And I'm glad that we can still do this for the families 21 years later, that we can still be here for them. But one day I won't be around anymore, so I hope that somebody will carry on the tradition of
No,
remembering.
and we will.
Yeah.
I know I remember that day, and it was really sad. I was but 10 years old, and it was a long time ago, but I remember seeing the news on the TV and just thinking that, something like that, happened so close to our home. But it was really nice to see the families coming together, the city, the community. Even though it was a private event, we had people, show up, and it was really nice. And it's a really good feeling to know that we have a really good city council and a good group of people here in our city that are representing all of Port Hueneme. And I just want to say thank you, Laura.
Oh, thank you. You're welcome. Yeah, we have a lot of community support. That was a big part of the response. We're all people who volunteered food and flowers and comfort. It meant a lot to the families. In fact, when they brought them back for their for memorial service, they came in buses. They came in big coach buses, and we lined the streets here in Ventura County as they came into town, and waved to them and greeted them, and just kind of did the virtual hug, back then, just to make them feel comforted and welcomed and safe.
Yeah, and we will be continuing this on, as a tradition.
I think so too. I think so too.
It's special, and I know we can have more people show up next year, and it's going to be
hopefully
really nice.
COVID will be under control,
by
and,
then.
and they'll be back next year on this day.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Laura.
You're welcome.
And thank you everyone for watching, and we'll see you guys soon.
Bye-bye.